I've heard you know the drill, so I'm just going to get right into it.
Okay.
If that's all right with
You bet.
So, can you please tell me about the incident with Mr. Bruce Brown?
Well, we were notified today by the Department of Health Services and the agents from Parole and Probation that Mr. Brown had been taken into custody. He's currently being housed at the Brown County Jail. They took him into custody because they are investigating a potential rules violation. I don't know the specifics of what the rules that he potentially violated were, but it's my understanding that, let me try that one over. I'm not sure the exact nature of the possible rules violation that they're looking at, but it's my understanding that it was not criminal in nature, so there was no additional crime that was committed. But over the weekend, they're going to be keeping him in custody until they can get to the bottom of the rules violation and see if any of the rules were violated. I really want to say thanks to the folks from Parole and Probation and the Department of Health Services for keeping such a close eye on Mr. Brown. As you know, there's issues with him being here. There's a concern that they moved a Milwaukee sex offender, put into Green Bay. I know our city attorney and some of our elected leaders are still working on that, trying to resolve that issue. But for right now, he is in custody. He's being held at the Brown County Jail, and it was over a potential rules violation.
Not a parole violation, though.
Great. Yeah, we're so, when an individual sex offender is released and they're in a house or in another facility, they have a lot of rules that they have to follow. They keep pretty close tabs on them. Apparently there was one or more rule violations, and that's why he was taken back into custody.
Okay. It's not going to be major, or was he going back? Or
right now, I don't know what the nature of the rule violations was. I don't know how long they're going to keep him, but while they're investigating the rule violations, my understanding they're going to keep him in custody, and that's why he's at the Brown County Jail.
Okay. Now we're going to move into this.
Traffic? Okay, let's talk traffic. Right.
So you are, not you, but someone sent us something that says you have a slow down for school zone traffic initiative going on.
Right. Let me make sure that I got that. Yeah, this we put up today, so okay. Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Slow Down Green Bay. That is our traffic enforcement effort for the year 2020. That's a response to all the community concerns at schools, concerns in our neighborhoods that people are driving just too fast, and they're doing distracted driving as well, whether it's being on a cell phone or not paying attention to where you're going. So we're really focusing on traffic. Today, we spent the day focusing on traffic around schools and school zones. It's the second time this year we spent the day around the school zones. I think last time we had probably 60 people that we stopped and talked to about speeding in school zones. Right now, our officers tell me that, they'll write an individual for being 15 miles an hour over the speed limit, and that's just way too fast around our schools. So with the warmer weather, we're seeing more kids outside after school, more kids outside during breaks and recess and whatnot. We want to make sure that people are driving carefully and slowly around those schools, because we don't want to see those tragedies that we see all too often in this country, where a young kid is outside the school and gets hit by a car.
So, let's say for some of the more trickier school zones, like over by West,
Okay.
Can you kind of tell me how that has to work out?
So they're not only on the main streets near schools, but they're also in the side streets around schools, because there are children that walk back and forth to school. There are pedestrians in that area. So you'll see our officers on the main streets around school. You also see them in some of the smaller streets surrounding those schools doing enforcement. And they're shooting radar, and they're clocking people at the speeds that they're going. They're looking for those distracted drivers that are on their cell phones when they shouldn't be. But most of all, we're doing this because we want to protect the kids, protect the people in our community, get everybody to slow down.
And I guess more of the question that I was going for was, how should people treat those areas? Especially because, like I said, West has 3 school districts on it, right, in one little road there.
Right. So all the school zones are clearly marked with signs of what the posted speed limit is. People need to be sure that they're aware what that speed limit is and that they're driving under the speed limit. It's all being done to, again, protect the kids that are out there. Just so you know, we've doubled the number of citations we've written in 2020 compared to 2019. That's 100 plus 100% increase in the number of traffic citations that we're, and we give plenty of warnings too. Not everybody gets a citation. We also give plenty of warnings out there. But somebody speeding 15 miles an hour over the speed limit in the school zone, certainly someone that probably needs a citation to remind them what the laws are.
And what is your overall goal with this movement?
The goal is to have Green Bay a safe place for people to drive and safe place for kids to walk back and forth to school. We really want to avoid those kinds of tragedies. And this is really a response from the community. The real reason we're doing this is because this is what the community wants us to be doing. I get so many complaints about traffic in neighborhoods, traffic around schools, traffic on some of our bigger, busier streets that are just driving way too fast, and it's making a dangerous situation for the drivers that are out there. Ultimately, the goal, I'd love to run a traffic enforcement day around a school and not be able to cite anybody. That would be a success for me, because that tells me that people are getting the message and they're driving with due caution in those school zones.
Any final thoughts or things?
No, most people realize when you pull them over that they're driving too quickly and they need to slow down. Sometimes a reminder is all it takes. Oftentimes, though, we'll cite someone who's already been given a reminder. We put it down in our computer that we reminded this driver in this car on this date, and if we pull the same person over shortly thereafter, well, the reminder didn't work. It's time for the person to get a citation.